Right now, we have in our studio a very sound brother of mine, very good. I mean, you are going to learn a lot of things from him. So you need to stay tuned. We have here our brother Gideon Akpaida.
Boom! Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Bronson. It's a pleasure to be here. Hi, people. Good day to you. Let's look forward to have a very fantastic conversation together.
So now we want to discuss on something very, very intriguing, something very, very important. Something that is affecting our society currently, and we want to talk about relationship, dating, and all of that. So let's right into it. Let's know what it means to date. Why are we dating? What is dating all about? I mean, what do we understand by dating? Everybody is dating here, dating day. People are just dating, dating, dating. What do you understand about dating?
Okay, we want to look at the word dating. We There are different ways to look at it, really. First of all, basically, it means to have a a meeting, a meeting, an appointment with somebody with the intention of getting to know more about the person. Literally, like just about a meeting, so people can have a business date where maybe you want to go into a business partnership, you want to go into a proposal, you like to meet on grounds of that. That meeting can be called a date,
Okay.
right? We can also have dating in terms of you met somebody and somewhere in an event, maybe exchange contact, and then you'd like to meet the person physically and get to meet the person and all of that. That's meeting that you set aside to meet somebody face to face, right? To know more about the person, create some level of acquaintance with that person. That sort of meeting also called a date.
Wow.
Then we also have a date. In fact, we also have a concept called group dating,
Okay.
right? Group
Wow.
date.
Group dating.
Yeah, where a particular group of people decides to go out on a date, they come out to themselves, have a meeting, they get to know more about each other, have fun. That also is called a date.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
So dates can mean an appointment with somebody, a meeting with somebody with an intent to know the other person. Then we can also come into the relationship aspect where people also, which is the most popular angle
Yeah, the
people look
one
at
we
it
know,
from.
yes.
Yeah,
And that is what we really want to measure on that
yeah.
relationship aspect. I
So
mean, at what point can somebody go for a date? At what point can somebody, be it a man or a woman, choose that, okay, I need to go into a relationship? Just let me just know.
okay, people go into relationship for different reasons, and that can define or decide at what point they go into it. People can go. I can summarize two reasons people go into relationship, and number one is that people go into relationship because they want to have fun, right?
Oh, wow, they want to have fun.
They want to just explore the other person.
Okay.
This one has no end in view. Just let us just mingle, let us hook together, and all of that. And well, I may not subscribe to that because it's really wasting of the other person's time, and that's where we have a lot of heartbreak because there's no intentional
There's no
long term.
purpose. There's
Yeah,
no, yeah.
so that's what's creating most of the issue we're having today. And then there is also dating towards getting marriage or married or settling down with one other person. So depending on which you stand for, but I would really propose that the most genuine and valid reason for someone to go into a relationship or to go into a dating a relationship is because you want to get married with the other person. And what can allow you to know the right point to go into that is when you are ready to really settle down with your life.
Okay, when
You
you are ready
figured
to
out your
settle down. It
life, and
simply means down that you cannot just walk into a relationship if you are not ready to settle
yeah,
down.
you're not ready to settle down. There's no
Okay,
point
go
of going
ahead,
into it.
go
Yeah.
ahead.
So and that can be, it can be ambiguous, right? Because
Okay.
you're gonna now ask at what point can we really think that we are ready to settle down, right? But let me first of all look at that whole dating the whole dating endeavor.
Okay.
The first thing is this, that um dating before you go into something, you have to have enough knowledge around it. So
Okay.
don't go into relationships when you don't understand what you are going into, right? And when I was in secondary school, that was the first time I really got the reality of what dating is. You see boyfriend girlfriend, that it was a really
uh,
big thing that time. I don't know if it's still big like that, but it was a very big
it's
thing.
still around now, and so it's even more now than before.
Yeah, it was a
Okay.
very big thing that time, where you see young people, teenagers,
Okay.
have nothing about, they don't have no nothing like this about their future, but they've already started out dating each other, and in my SS2, that's when I begin to have the pressure of going to a relationship. And they say, I mean, you have to find someone that dates, blah, blah, blah. And I was just curious. As a curious person, I got to ask, why are people going to a relationship? Why should I date? Why should I date? And I remember one of my friends telling me that time that, you're not just gonna wake up and get married like that.
Okay.
Right? And it sounded like a very valid reason.
Yeah, something like it's what people use often.
Yeah.
You cannot just stand up and get married like that. You need to date, you need to go date and know each other.
So,
okay.
my question was that, how many of you are gonna get married to your first date?
Yeah.
Like when you look at the current, look at people that are married now, go and meet them and ask them, did you marry your first date? So if people would not marry their first date, then I don't think that you should just get married, or sure you should go into dating just carelessly like that. Because when I asked that question, my friends could not answer. They say, no, just go into the relationship. If it works, you guys can get married. And here is me here. I don't know the kind of future I am gonna have. I don't know how to prepare for it. I don't know if the decision I'm making now is actually very healthy for the future I'm aiming at. So those are the things that was on my mind, and I had to be like, I have to have a clear view of my future. So I'm answering your question as to at what point I have a clear view of my future, and I've come to that point where I've completely developed capacity to take ownership of the journey of my future, or the kind of life I want.
Okay, this simply means that if you don't have a clear view of where you are going to, you should not indulge yourself in any form of relationship.
Dating relationship.
Okay, that is very powerful. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so the first thing for me was that I had to visualize the future I wanted, know the kind of person I wanted to be, because we call our wife life partner, or our spouses life partner for a reason, right? So you need to be very clear about your life, so that you now know who can partner with your needs. So I found out, okay, this is the kind of person I want to be known for. This is what I want to do with my life, and I have understood the things that are going to be required, the kind of person that's going to be compatible with this journey. And that knowledge is what informed me with, okay, now I'm ready to date, right? And all of that. So
wow, that's good. You spoke about future. I really got you from what you want to say. So now, is this applicable to both male and female? Because now, what's the point of a woman building her future, building things, and at some point, a man just comes in and want him to follow him in his vision? These are controversies, and these are the things that are happening right now. So you can throw more light on that.
Okay. Yeah, I see that happen a whole lot. I see that happen, but I think it's not necessary if we are call it discerning and discretional around it, because there is such a thing called compatibility, right? And although people predominantly look at sexual compatibility and not look at, I think that people should be very logical in their approach towards relationship first, right? I mean, I'm not saying that you should not have a feeling for people, but I'm saying that this thing is a long-term decision. It's something that will last beyond emotion. So it's important that we look at it first and foremost beyond emotions. Look at principles. What's my alignment? How does my value align with this person? When you look at value alignments, you look at intellectual alignment, and you begin to look at long-term goals. How does your goal, the kind of life you want, right? And the kind of life that this one wants, how does it come together?
How can it meet in a certain point?
So if it contradicts, I don't think that you guys are best
fit. Two parallel lines that can never come back.
So people just
together,
because they have feelings for each other, they just come together like it doesn't work like that.
So now it should be way beyond feelings.
Should be way beyond
dating should be way beyond feelings. You hear what people have to say in the comment section. Dating should be way beyond feelings. That's
beyond feelings.
That's good. That's good. So now this leads me to ask a question that have been bothering me. If you check our generation, both here and in diaspora, you notice that there are a lot of marriages that are failing because of, I don't know, I do not say anything, but we have a lot of divorces here and there. People get into marriage, they are not happy. You listen to them. I mean, a whole lot of things happening. What do you think is the cause of this thing? Because in my own thought, I think that what you are doing now as a young person when you were single has a role to play when you are getting married in one way or the other. So I just wanted to let us know what is happening in that regard.
Okay, that's a very good question. Actually, we have a lot of people that went into marriage, and it looks like the marriage world is a very, 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 very strange place. Like they got in there, we have this experience of what I ordered
And what?
based on what I got. Right, they envisioned to have a very fantastic marriage. They envisioned to see that okay, this marriage experience will be very exciting. And when they came inside and saw, they began to see areas. It's marriage reveals ourselves to us,
Okay.
right? Because if you don't have an opportunity for someone to get close enough for you to see yourself from the eyes of another person, then you won't sometimes know how much of a person you are, how terrible of a person you are.
Okay.
How so
Yeah.
marriage
And these are
reflects,
aspects we don't want to accept.
yes,
Okay.
marriage reflects ourselves back to us,
Okay.
reflects to us what we could look like in certain kind of scenarios. It's a test of our integrity, test of our value, and test of our principles. So when marriage meets us, when our principles have not been tested before,
Okay.
we'll come and see what the judgment looks like.
Mm.
So that's where many of these things come from. So I would say that I can trace many of the just like you said that it's from grassroots how we brought up.
Mm.
We don't necessarily have relationship issues.
Okay.
We don't have marriage issues. What we have are carried over childhood traumas that people had,
Okay.
poor upbringing, mispriorities during their
Our
adolescence.
upbringing,
So
yeah.
all of these distortions, all of these kind of, I want to call it aberrations, right, are being
Okay.
carried into the marriage scenario, and with the other person, it creates a complex kind of problem, and that's what we now see as marital problems today. So it's if we
That's
want
a
to
very
now look
powerful
at
point there.
if we want to now look at the issues of marriage, we have to trace it down to a person. If you want to trace it down to a person, you trace it down to how they were raised and the experiences they've had, and if
It's
they were able to
true.
navigate and solve some of the issues that came from their
It's
experiences.
true. It's
So yeah,
true. In other words, before you get into marriage, you must let go of every trauma. You must
yeah,
be
learn to
completely
heal.
healed
Yeah,
before you.
become your ideal partner. Basically,
Yeah.
become your ideal partner. I remember this that it took me time really to think myself fit to go into a relationship. I'm going to use myself as an example because I've
Okay.
been intentional around relationship for quite a
That's
long
good.
time, for
That's good.
most of my life. I've been very intentional around it. And for the first time I got really interested in relationship was I think 2023. I was really, really like, I felt ready. I've been ready. All along it has been like no, 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 no. I keep doubting myself. I keep doubting myself. And those doubts came from the place of, am I good enough for the kind of person I want in my life?
Okay.
Because it's sometimes people's expectation in marriage is always one-sided.
Okay.
It's always one-sided. It's about the kind of person you want. But how about the
Yeah.
kind of person that the kind
Are
of
you
person you
building
want
yourself?
wants?
Yes.
Do
To
you
be the kind
understand?
of person that
Are you
sure.
ideal
Very
for your
true. There's a
ideal
big point
partner?
there. Yes.
Right? Are you
Yeah.
ideal for them? So every time when I look at the kind of person I wanted, I'm like, so what am I going to be to them?
Okay.
I had to start preparing myself. I had to be intentional with self-development. I have to be intentional with healing. I have to also look out for in the little ways I've related with people, because at least the way you've built your life, your friendships that
Mm,
you've kept all along should be preparatory ground
yeah.
for
For
relationship.
good.
Right? So if you're not able to keep normal social interaction with people, in normal social interaction, you're having issues, then you're gonna carry that into marriage,
It's
right?
true.
Because
It's
marriage
true.
is also social. There is social aspect of it,
It's
there's
true.
spiritual aspect of it, and in fact, the social aspect of marriage is very, very dominant.
Okay.
That's the one that, because you're seeing this person every day, you're gonna talk, you're gonna exchange ideas, right?
Okay.
Every other thing is just below. But the one that you're gonna be coming in contact face to face is how you communicate, how you treat people, and these are all social things, right?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So when you come friendship rather, it's actually the prepare right ground. If you're not keeping healthy relationships, if you're not able to keep really fulfilling relationships, you look back at your life and say, okay, my friends that are like have been around me for 5 years, right? 5 years, 10 years, and we are good. I don't think that you are really fit enough for a relationship. I think you should really, 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 someone should sit down, and if you want to look at, okay, what my marriage look like, look at the little ways you relate with people. What does it look like? When you have problem with people, how do you solve it?
Okay.
Do you understand? Because these techniques,
Yeah.
these methods you use in handling the issues around your social life, you'll be
Mm,
carried over
yeah.
into relationship.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when people don't fix all of this and they go into
it will
marriage,
now be a major problem
it's
in
going to be a
marriage.
big issue for
And
them.
it will look as if there is a problem here and there.
Yeah.
It's just these things you need to learn for you to be able to navigate all these old things. This is powerful. You
Yeah.
know, like as I'm telling you, I'm learning a whole lot of things from what you are just saying. So there is this thing I really want to ask as well. You know, there are young people now that, and it has been bothering me too. Can somebody really keep a friend with an opposite gender successfully without any form of indulging in some things, emotions being involved, or sexual emotions being involved? So just keeping a good, clean relationship with the opposite gender without. Can we just learn on that? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get
Okay,
your
so
question.
can we just know more about that?
Okay, that's very, very, very interesting question, right? So yes, we can keep relationships with open sex, pure relationships that are not sexually involved, like no sexual involvement,
Okay.
rather. So it's possible, but I want us to understand that man and woman, male and female relationship, it's a very, very complex scenario because biologically, men are created to be attracted
Okay.
to women, and women are created to be attracted to men as well. So
Mm.
when these two people come together, there is something, if they are not conscious of these tendencies, right,
Setting
they're going to
boundaries.
fall a victim to it,
It's
right?
true. It's true.
So someone have to have some level of emotional awareness. We need
Okay.
both men and female. This is why emotional intelligence is very, very important. It's not just about saying you have to be sure that you are emotionally intelligent.
It's true.
So emotional intelligence is about you being aware of your own emotions and
Okay.
being able to take full control of it, as well as both in the presence of other emotions. I mean, external emotions, people outbursts. You're able to keep your own emotions first in check and redirect it properly.
Emotional intelligence.
That's the crux of emotional intelligence. So when it comes to male-female relationship dynamics, I want us to understand that there is no possibility that you get close to a woman that is attractive. That at some point, if you're not careful, if you're not drawing boundaries, you'll not be attracted to her.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
that's biologically, men and women
Okay.
are meant to be sexually attracted to each
Of
other.
course. Of course.
So, so the main thing is that when these feelings come, how do you interpret them? What do you do
Okay.
about it? Right? If you're
Yeah.
not conscious of it, if you're not aware that this is going to happen, and you are preempting these scenarios, and you've put checks around to ensure that you guys don't go beyond certain boundaries, you're definitely going to fall into it. But my answer is that it is possible for us to have relationship with the other sex that are not sexually involved.
Okay, that is good. That is very true. So, in other words, we need to create structures, boundaries that from both parties
Yeah.
to keep the relationship pure and clean.
I think another thing I've not mentioned is the fact that if you don't define a relationship,
Okay.
anything can happen inside.
Yeah.
If you don't
Okay.
define, right? If two people come together and they don't define why we are here,
Okay.
why are we together?
Anything can happen.
Anything can happen. So it's important. Don't leave. There's no vacuum in the world.
Yeah.
The universe, nature abhors vacuum.
Okay.
Right? So you just, maybe a young guy and a young lady just got connected, and they like each other. I think that the next thing after the whole exchange of pleasantries, the next thing is to come to establish what they are going to be together for.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So
Okay.
we can build relationship around interest, right? This person is doing tech. I like this person's motivation. I've actually gone to meet friends, and I've made friends with friends of people even opposite sex. And the main reason why I got close to them was because I like their passion.
Okay.
I like their drive.
Yeah.
And I feel like, oops, I need this kind of drive in my life. So if I get close to this person and see how disciplined, consistent, and highly self-driven this person is, I'm going to contact some things.
It's true.
So I go straight to the person, see, this is what I like about you, and I think I want to just let's get close together. I'll look out for you in areas. I mean, if there's anything that maybe you know that I'm strong at and you need it, I can always come in for you. And basically, it provides a very strong ground for us to
Very
understand
true.
ourselves,
Very true.
and we respect ourselves. And then whenever I go out of boundary, the other person can tell me, or go out of my limits. She tell me, no.
this
I
not
mean,
actually-
because she understands the content of the relationship is clearly
There's a
defined.
purpose.
But once it's not defined, it's immature, really. Once you are not able to come out to negotiate whatever engagements you have with people, they are not matured.
Yeah, it's true.
You are not matured.
Because they say when the purpose of thing is not
So
known,
defined,
abuse
abuse
is
inevitable,
inevitable. Yeah,
absolutely.
so it's true. So yeah, that's perfect. What are the red flags? What are the boundaries? At what point can somebody leave relationship because of the red flags? What are the red flags first? Let's just start with that.
Okay, red flags are simply what you count as no's, right? Off limits, right? And I think that it's important for us to have such kind of things because anything that doesn't have limits, right, doesn't have principles that protect it, is not godly. It's not proper, right?
Okay, okay,
Everything,
okay.
everything. So if there are no limit around something, even the same thing too is applicable when you say that when the purpose of a thing is not known, right?
Mm,
Abuse. Purpose is simply that this is what this thing is meant for. Anything outside
yeah,
this is off
yeah.
limits. So the same thing too. When you look at relationships, there are things that should count as call it general boundaries. People can have general boundaries, like general boundaries that like this one is common
Okay,
and there are some that are specific depending on the individuals.
okay, okay.
So, but for me, I think that basically the first thing that anyone should have before they go into a relationship, that if they should not have it, I think it's not worth to be called relationship, is that people should be self-dependent, right?
Okay.
Self-dependent. So if someone is not, for me, this is my own point of view. If someone is not 100%, not 100% self-dependent, like let me say in a sense that you are taking full responsibility for your life. I don't think the person is ready for a relationship because, in other words, the person will oftentimes have to be dependent. You cannot really tell if this person is in love with you or not, or they are just
Okay.
liking you because of what they are getting from you. So in order for me to be able to
Because
distinguish
of the
between,
benefits, yeah.
yeah, so in order for me to be able to distinguish that this person is not liking me because of the fact that I'm helping the person move the person from one
Place or one stage to
to
another.
another. So I want to be able to really, really distinguish that. For me, you have to be 100% self-responsible
Yeah, self-dependent,
and responsible. You
self-responsibility.
take full
That
responsibility for
is that
yourself.
is that
So
is
that's
that
the
is
first boundary. Then the
okay.
second boundary for me, well, given that I'm a Christian, anything the Bible says we should not do is a red
Okay,
flag.
okay, okay. Yeah.
Anything the Bible
It's true.
prohibits, right?
It's true. It's
So,
true.
but if I have to mention, I'm going to mention respect, right? I'm going to mention respect. I'm going to also mention that you should have long-term visions, right? Have
Okay. Very
be
important
have
to me.
something that you are striving at,
I mean,
because really our brain is wired in such a way that our potentials, we become better based on the when we start pursuing things that are bigger than us.
okay.
So if someone is not pursuing something that is bigger than her, doesn't have any ambition, that because it's one thing for someone to say that I have an ambition.
Okay.
Like if we meet somebody now, people will tell you that look, I want to become this, I want to achieve this by some year. Everybody has something to say, but how do you differentiate? For me, I do like this. I look at what the person has said
Okay.
they are trying to become or they are trying to achieve,
All right.
and then I look at what are they doing right now, and I measure and look at, okay, this thing that they're doing, is it very very certain that with what they are doing that they're gonna get to that field. That's how I know someone is serious. So have long term
Mm,
have long term goals. Have something you are pursuing. Have something you want to do with your life, right?
perfect.
Yeah, have something to do with your life. So I don't want to destroy my own,
It's
because
true. It's
if you do
true.
not know
If you
how,
don't have what to do, it will affect it will, in
yeah,
one way or the other.
yeah.
It will be like a
So
burden or something.
it's broad, really. People have,
Okay.
but for me, I'll say that Christian values, right? Our
Okay.
value is the foundation for our boundaries. So
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I like honor. If you dishonor me, we
Mm,
are gonna have issues. I
yeah.
like respect. I love God, right?
Yeah.
And I want us to follow. So when you look at the whole future you have together, you know the things that are right for this future. And when you start out to, and when you look at marriage, for instance. I'm
Okay.
sorry, relationship, for instance.
Mm.
Basically, the idea is that I want to spend the rest of my life with this person, but let us see what a piece of our life together looks like,
It's true. It's true.
right?
It's true.
So that piece of our life, whatever is applicable, is going to be applicable in
That is
marriage.
what I keep
You'll
on saying.
also apply over
You
here.
see it.
So if I don't, because if you
You
don't,
see it.
whatever you tolerate does not change. You
It
will have
does
to
not change.
endure.
You have to endure till
Whatever you
Jesus
tolerate, you have to
comes.
endure. It will never change. So those things that I don't want to see in my marriage,
Ah.
right? If I see it now, it's gonna be a red flag, right?
Okay. Okay. Now let's lead me to ask you this particular question. What is the major red flags people tend to ignore, feeling that this thing gonna change in marriage? You know, people think, a lot of people say, don't worry, it's going to change. Don't worry, he's going to change. Don't worry, she's going to change. But you notice that when they get into marriage, there is nothing like change. In fact, marriage will even reveal more. So
Yeah.
now, what do you feel that our society in this present time, both for a male and for a female, ignores in relationship that later becomes a problem tomorrow?
Okay. I think the first thing for me, I'll mention this. The first thing is this: reciprocity.
You can break that
Reciprocity,
down.
right? So reciprocity is simply that this person here, right? The way you love this person, the commitment you are making towards this person, the things you are doing to this person, are they also being reflected back at you? Are they doing the same thing too? Are they also loving you in that
In
same
that
sense?
same light,
You know, understand?
considering
Because
you
any
and
place
all
you
of
don't
that.
see reciprocity, that's where you're gonna see abuse.
Okay,
You understand?
it's true.
So let me give you an example. Reciprocity is actually a universal principle. It's not just
Okay.
so whenever we are living in a cycle world, a secular world. The world is a cycle, right? So water comes from the sky, right, to the earth, and at the
Then
end of the day, it
evaporate back.
evaporates back to the
It's
sky.
true. It's true.
So if I give you something valuable, you should also find a way to give me something. So relationship should be built on reciprocity. Mutual.
Reciprocity.
So
That
when you
is.
don't see these things, right? If you're not seeing these things, it means that the person is not because if you love someone, you're gonna commit. If you
It's
love someone,
true.
you're gonna give your best.
Yeah.
So if I'm giving you my best and you're doing me my best, then you're cheating me already.
Yeah,
I don't have to wait for you to go and cheat. You don't have to cheat. Like,
This is very powerful.
right?
This is very
You don't have to go and
powerful.
cheat. The mere fact that I'm loving you at my best, you have cheated already. You have cheated, and I've catch you. So when I don't see reciprocity in a
That's a
relationship,
powerful one there.
I think that's the first mark that I should walk away from it.
It's true.
Then the second thing is unhealthy behaviors, right?
Okay.
Unhealthy behavior can come in terms of how someone communicates, right? How someone communicates, how the person, basically communication is a whole lot to look at, right? So there are people that are very manipulative.
Yes.
They are selfish, right?
It's true.
When you see someone is selfish, always prioritizes their own need,
It's
their
true.
private interest above you. All of these things still boils down. I think that capitally, right? If you don't see reciprocity in your relationship, that relationship is not a healthy one, because from this now we can trace every other kind of issue into reciprocity.
Wow, that is good. So that means if there is no reciprocation, you should not go into that marriage. So reciprocation is very, very important
Yeah.
when it comes to seeing some certain behaviors.
Yeah.
And at what point should somebody leave relationship, even though you love the person?
Okay, at what point? Well, like I mean, don't like you say, even though you love the person, when you look at love, people look at love in terms of feeling and all of that. So, and I don't dispute it, right? I don't dispute it, but I think that love cannot alone sustain a relationship. We need wisdom to
Okay.
sustain it, right? Love should be followed up with knowledge and ability for you to discern. I remember this passage in scriptures that says that I pray for you that your love may abound even more and more, right? In all knowledge, and in all discernment,
Okay.
right? So if you are loving without knowledge and without discernment, or more, you are blind, right?
Okay.
You're like a blind person living in the world, right? So you cannot discern colors, cannot discern whether there's fire over there, you're falling into a ditch. People should be armed to do that.
Okay.
So at what point can you leave a relationship? Well, I think when the relationship threatens your life,
Okay.
right? When the relationship threatens your life, there are relationships that are abusive. In fact, when once somebody have come to that point where they assault you,
Okay.
right? They assault you whether emotionally,
Physically.
right, or physically, right? That relationship is not. I mean, those things inside it,
Okay.
right? So the next thing after that, even after how you love the person, next thing after that, after when you look at these other aspects, is to look at when you look at the long term, the future you're aiming for,
Okay.
and you look at this the person you want to go to that future together with, and what do you see? Do you think that this future is achievable? Especially if you are someone that you are highly driven and you know what you want, you are serious about what you want and all of that. And when you look at this person, when I look at my relationship with this person, I'm not talking about in terms of the person making the future possible for you.
Okay.
Right? I'm talking about the person. When you look at this person, that's kind of person you want to stay with in the future you want for your life. Do you think that this person now fits into that future?
I need to be blunt about
You have to be very blunt about
keeping
it.
emotions aside.
Yeah.
I mean, this is very interesting. This is very, very interesting. I mean, you must always see, like what he just said now. Look at this person, look at your life. Know that is this person good for me in the future? Can this person work with me to fulfill destiny and all of
Yeah,
that? This is should be what you should consider when it comes to
absolutely.
relationship. That's very powerful. So, and when we talk about healthy boundaries in relationships, there are it's what we call healthy boundaries in relation. We just spoke about how that if something doesn't have boundaries, there will be chaos and here and there.
Yeah.
So now this what do we know as keeping boundaries, healthy boundaries when it comes to relationship?
Okay. Boundaries are not. First of all, boundary. Let me say. I mean, I want to quote somebody. Boundaries are not walls. Boundaries are doors.
Okay.
Right. So boundaries. People sometimes people just think that the way people go about it is like it's about something that someone nobody can enter. No, it's something that if you want this level of access to me, if you want this level of relation with me, you have to knock, go through the door.
Okay.
Do you understand? So that's what boundaries are like for. So we can have boundaries depending on the kind of relationship we have, and we can have boundaries because depending on the values we have.
Okay.
So boundaries should be dependent on your value system, your value system. So
Okay.
I'm a honest person. I'm a person of integrity. So you use these things are gonna be things that defines boundaries for you. So
Okay.
I cannot go into a relationship with somebody that's one is lying. I mean, there's no in this
The,
relationship there's no lies.
there's oh
We're gonna be
wow.
openly honest to ourselves,
That
right?
is
Those are
that's
healthy
beautiful.
boundaries
That's beautiful.
to work with. In this relationship, we are because basically relationship is built on trust,
Of course.
right? So if we are not going to be anything that is going to break trust, that can other put it, bring a threat to how much we can
Okay.
trust ourselves. It's outside the scope and range of our boundary. So starting with, I'll say that good boundaries starts from call it honesty, compassion,
Consideration.
yeah, considerability. I call it
Yes.
contributing. Considering the other person as yourself, look at
Mm,
the person's other person's goal as though it is your own. So these are things that can constitute as boundaries, and it all depends as well, and also not just because we look at it in the inside. Also, we look at it from the outside. If someone is having a relationship with you, there are things you cannot. I mean, there are things that the person can know about you
okay.
that someone else that is not in a relationship with you should know, right?
Uh,
So you cannot just meet a guy. You guys have not defined anything yet,
mm,
right? And you start that since the guy cannot invite someone to come to his house when
mm,
the two of you do
yeah,
not
there's
have
not
anything
they are
together,
defined. Yeah, it's not
right?
well
And
defined.
then when they okay coming to the house, what boundaries are we gonna have? Okay, we're gonna
Yeah.
in this relationship because I am a best child of God. I don't want to be promiscuous. So in this relationship,
Mm,
there's not gonna be anything like touching over here.
mm,
Those are good boundaries. So boundaries are always gonna be dependent on our value system, values
okay.
first. So
Yeah.
you have to define your values first, both of you, because there's no point going to a relationship with any kind of person, someone that does not share your values, and then you come and impose the
The values and
boundaries
this
of your
on them.
values
Yeah.
on the person, right?
It's true.
It's not going to make sense. So first, define your values,
Mm,
define what you stand for, define your standard for behavior,
okay.
right? Once you define all of those things, it's easy. So when you go into a relationship with somebody, these things become
The yardstick
the
of
yardstick of
what
measuring
measuring.
whether the person is healthy, where the limit that the relationship cannot go to. So that's the approach I think we should use towards
Wow, your core
boundaries.
values, core beliefs, which is what is really saying. You must have values first so you can define your boundaries, right?
Yeah.
So that's amazing. I mean, this is so powerful. This series is so powerful, and if you pay attention to this, you are going to learn a lot. You can keep on watching the video, go through the video anytime you want to go through the video. There is a lot that he just said, and trust me, I've learned a lot personally. So, and I believe you have learned as well. So, all you need to do for me is to subscribe to this channel, follow us, press that like button wherever you see this video, and trust me, you are going to learn. See you in our next video.
Thank you.
Thank
See
you.
you.